Hey, welcome to Wednesday night. This is Music and Mixing, last time I checked. I am DJ Michael Joseph, also last time I checked. And you guys are awesome, last time I checked. So how's everybody doing? Have a few people in the chat already. Just adjusting a few things here. For those of you who got to check out the show earlier, we did a little pre-show where, for those who are in the DJNTV Insiders area, I did about an hour mix just for fun, just to kind of show some examples. It was a lot of house music, wasn't any kind of scratch or anything crazy like that. But that was there, so that's only for the insider people. So if you guys are able to... if you have more questions about that, you can go to the DJTV Insiders or DJNTV.com, and there's information there about the Insiders, how you join, and there's just a little Facebook page. It's a closed group that if you're part of the Insiders group, you get some information. You get be able to ask questions to any of the DJNTV news staff or anything like that. It's kind of a neat little area. We can have John talk about it another night, but like I said, it's a really cool place where you can go and hang out and ask questions and things like that. And we just did a little special thing for them tonight. That was all in the pre-show. And there's John in the chat telling me all good. So yeah, John, if you can drop a link in there for the DJNTV Insiders area if they want to join and if they want to learn more about that. So, all right. So tonight I'm going to wait a couple minutes till we get some people in the chat. But tonight is going to be an interesting subject because it's a subject to where it's both theory and practice because it's literally practice. So it's going to be something that I think I'm going to repeat myself a lot tonight. I know that for sure. There are things that I'm going to repeat that I repeat in a lot of my shows that my friend Ed tells me that I say a lot, and he says, I'm glad you say it, and I'm going to say it probably about 3 times tonight. So with all of that preemptively said, this show, Music and Mixing, is primarily for the DJ who wants to mix, who wants to actively mix songs on a controller, on turntables, on a Denon Prime system, on a Rain 12, on anything where they're actually mixing. That's what this whole show's about. And tonight's topic is about practicing. So tonight, it's about practicing and how to get the most out of your practice time for DJing, for actually physically DJing, okay? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. We have some people, I guess, that tried some stuff that we were doing last week. We already went over the beat juggling and stuff last week. We'll maybe cover that again. Tonight's just about practice. So we're going to talk about practice. We're going to talk about ideas and themes and ways to better yourself through practice, ways to have better practices and stuff like that. So that's what tonight's all about. And again, I'm probably going to say this about 3 or 4 times, that it's about the mixed DJ. So if you're not the DJ who mixes and you're just someone who plays music, the stuff I'm going to be talking about tonight may give you some inside information about how to practice, but it probably isn't, because it's going to be, like I said, it's about the mixed DJ and what to do. So I know that you guys really you guys support us all the time, and we're so thankful for you guys watching the videos and stuff like that. But I hope that none of this, what I'm about to say, chases you away from us, because I think what I'm going to talk about tonight and the way I'm going to talk about it is going to possibly hold up a mirror and show you what you really want from your DJ career. And that's sometimes scary when someone holds up a mirror and shows you what you really want. Because we can say, I want to be the best DJ, I want to be the best scratch artist, I want to be the best performer, I want to be the best this, I want to be the best that. But when you hold up a mirror, you're going to know really how badly you want that. So again, some of the stuff I'm going to say tonight may not make you happy, but what I don't want it to chase you away. I want it to encourage you to think again on the stuff that I'm about to talk about. In life, you always do what you want. Whether you say you do or you don't, you do. Example, if I want to lose weight, the only way to lose weight is to eat better and exercise. That's all there is to it. So if I'm going to if I really want to lose weight, then I'm going to actively have to change things in my life to fit exercise in, to fit time to prepare better meals, stuff like that. And if I don't make that effort, that's me holding a mirror up to myself going, you're being lazy, you're getting the frozen pizza, you're getting takeout, you played a video game as opposed to going out for a run. That's pretty much all there is to that when it comes to holding a mirror up. You can say, I want to do this or that. You would find time for it. If you wanted to make more money, you would try to find time for that. If you wanted to have a better relationship with someone, you would find time to spend with them. You would figure it out. And some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, ways to find that time and to better use that time. And that's what, like I said, I don't want that to scare you and chase you away. But the fact is, if you want to be a better DJ, you're going to have to practice no matter what. That's all there is to it. There was a couple articles that I read preparing for this that I kind of wanted to get some ideas from other people about getting better that had nothing to do with DJing. And a couple things there were talking that there's like, how many hours a week do you do getting better as opposed to watching things to get better? How many hours, let me say that again, how many hours a week do you spend doing things to get better as opposed to watching things to get better? And again, don't want to chase you away from our videos. There's lots of good information here, but you can take in the information we have in the videos, but if you don't go and put it into practice, it's pretty much like the old saying, looking in the mirror and forgetting who you're looking at. So you have to figure out if you're doing that. No matter what kind of DJ you want to be, a mixed DJ, a scratch DJ, a club DJ, an EDM, hip hop, you can't get better without practicing and spending time doing it. And I want to talk a little bit later about the difference of practicing at home as opposed to being out in public, because that's such a huge difference between the two. In contradiction to saying that you have to do things to get better, in 2017, I wrote an article called 7 Ways to Make Yourself a Better DJ Without Practicing. And some of the things in there are actually some of the stuff I'm going to talk about tonight. There are things like knowing your music. When I say know your music, I don't mean like going, oh, I know the 80s, I know hip hop, I know this. It's literally the track that you have. Do you know where in that track that the hook begins? Do you know where in the track there's a bridge you can mix out of? Do you know, if you have 3 or 4 versions, which version fits better with this? Know your music. Confidence is one I've always said. My friend Scott, who passed away a couple years ago, he always used to have a saying that I loved when we were younger. He always say it when we were shooting basketball, and he'd swish the ball and he'd be like, confidence. Not over, not under, just confidence. And that sometimes you have to believe in yourself. I can honestly say that when I came to the DJ Expo and doing my set at the Expo, that I had, it was a little overwhelming because to me, it was a big deal to be asked to do that. It was really, really, it was a big deal. I was honored. And I had to kind of check my confidence saying, hey, kid, you've been doing this a while, so relax and just do what you do, and that's not ego, that's just confidence because I've spent so much time, and that's what practice will give you because you've done it so many times. That's kind of what it's all about. Another thing I talked in there about being a better DJ without practicing is getting or making edits or remixes, and that's also in with putting out an effort, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. In practice, getting better stuff. One of the things that I talked about that a lot of people just kind of don't think about is try reading the crowd when you're not DJing. When you're sitting in a restaurant, there's music or a band playing, or you're out with some other DJ, or you're in a car listening to music. Kind of read the room, read what's going on around you, because those are things that can honestly help you down the road to read a crowd that you're in front of that may not be reacting the way you want them to. It helps you to read that and then switch up gears to grab them. Tonight's video I did, it was the DJing stuff I did earlier. Part of those purposes is to record yourself DJing live. Now that can mean record yourself video pointing at you or just record. Pretty much every program out there has a record functionality in it, and Virtuals is really, really simple. You just go in here and you'll name it where you want to name it, a date or whatever in the format you want, and press start recording, and that simply just records straight as you're mixing. And one of the cool things is you get a really good quality copy of what you're doing, and you can go back and review it later. And here's something that I used to have on my computer. I don't have it on this computer, and I probably should put it back. Keywords, again, 7 things you can do to make yourself a better DJ without practicing is have fun. Because if you're not having fun, then people are going to see that, and it's going to show, and they're not going to want to be a part of what you're doing. So that's one of the key things, is you've got to have fun at what you're doing. And those are the 7 things that from the article that that you can do without practicing, but some of them are actually practicing, and we're going to talk about practice right now. I'm not watching a chat, so if you guys have any questions, hold them off till the end. We're going to go through some things. I'll answer questions. We'll go over stuff. Usually, if you guys are new to the show, that's kind of how it goes. I usually have the first little bit where I go over the stuff, and then we answer questions. Some shows we have a lot of time, like last week, to answer questions, and other shows that we've got like 10 minutes maybe to answer questions. I think we're going to have a lot of time tonight, so save your questions till the end, and I'll grab them there. Some questions to ask yourself as you're holding this mirror up. How many hours a week do you practice? And I really mean that. Do you spend any time? If it's not how many hours a week, how many hours a month, how many hours a year? And you're going to get out of it what you put into it. So if you put an hour a month in, then you're only going to get an hour a month better. And that's all there is to it. You say, I don't have the time. I bet you that we could budget your time. So if I said that I was going to pay you for every hour you practice, you would find time, wouldn't you? If I said I was going to pay you $30 an hour to practice, you would find time. And some of the ways that you can find time, some I recommend, some I don't, but these are all things you can do, is how much TV do you watch? If you watch 3 hours of TV today, cut it down to 2 hours, or even, like I said, if you practice 2 hours a week, and you watch 5 hours a day, you're only going to miss a couple hours of TV. So TV is a big thing, and that includes internet watching videos on YouTube, surfing the web, all that kind of stuff where you can kind of fit that in there. One I don't recommend, which a lot of people are into, is getting up early or staying up late, losing sleep. I'm a big fan of guarding your sleep because I believe over a lifetime it really, really benefits you to get a good night's sleep every night for years and years and years. But sleep is a way that, are you sleeping too much? Are you napping? Could you be doing this while you're napping or something? Seasonal is one for a lot of the guys who do a lot of weddings, that you have an off season, that let's say you can't practice during the summer. You're going to have time in the winter where it's going to be dead, and you're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs, maybe wondering how you can get a gig. Practice. Take time, practice, put stuff out there. And again, this is for, and again, I'm going to repeat myself 100 times tonight, this is for the mixed DJ. So a lot of us mixed DJs really don't have an off season where we just DJ year-round, clubs and bars and festivals and parties and stuff like that. We really don't have an off season. We're always working every single weekend. Most of the time, most of us work throughout the week DJing, maybe a college night somewhere or something like that. But if you do have a kind of schedule with your DJing that gives you an off season, look ahead. Say, I'm going to practice these things down the road. I'm going to go over my music better down the road, and set those things ahead and put it on a calendar, so when it pops up, you're going, hey, next week I'm going to start working on my music library, or next week I'm going to start practicing scratching or beat juggling or just mixing or whatever you want. Schedule that time. I heard a guy say this, and I want to expand upon it because I think it's kind of I think it's kind of neat. He goes, practice while you're waiting for your laundry to dry, because that's a dead time for a lot of people. Some people are really good at multitasking, but some people just kind of sit around. You can buy smaller DJ stuff to practice on. You can get the PTO1, which is a full vinyl set, and take that pretty much anywhere in practice. And we're going to be talking about practicing in places soon. I did forget to tell you guys that I always put my things in like letters, rows of letters, that tonight we're going to be talking about the T's, the practice T's, and we'll get to that in a minute. But whatever you want to do, you'll make changes. You'll invest the time to obtaining the goals. You have to ask yourself, how many changes are you willing to make to get what you want? How many changes are you willing to make just to make small changes? So you might have to make 5 changes to make one small change to give yourself time to practice. So you might have to sacrifice a lot. And I don't like using the word sacrifice because I've always talked about my DJ career kind of that way, that a parent sacrifices for a kid. This isn't sacrificing, in my opinion. It's just taking stuff off the table and putting other stuff on the table. For me, it's been things like being able to hang out with friends, or relationships that just don't fit into the life that I'm trying to achieve as in the music career, that just isn't that is really hard to fit in there. So those things have been taken off the table, and it's as simple as that. That sometimes you have to do that if you really want to do that. But you will make time. So here are the 4 T's that we're going to be talking about tonight: practice time, practice territory, practice techniques, and practice tricks. So those are the 4 tonight: territories, techniques, time, and tricks are the things that we're going to talk about. But right now, we are going to take a quick break to go say thank you to our sponsors, and we'll be right back after this break. Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and DJNTV Insiders. Again, we want to thank our sponsors every single week. They make this show happen. If it wasn't for them, you'd be bored to death watching me. So now let's get into, again, if you can, hold your questions till the end. I don't have a lot of things within these, so we're going to be, in a few minutes, we'll probably be back. It's going to be quick. So these are the things that you can look at for time. And one of the things I want to say is you may have more time than you think, and the key important thing here is you only have you have the same amount of time that the rest of us do. So I don't have more hours in my day than you do, or Zig Ziglar doesn't have more hours in his day than we do. We all have the same amount. So we have to work with what we're given, and we are given that many hours. So keep that in mind when it comes to time. I want you to think a little bit about this. A little is a lot more than nothing. So if you only get in 20 minutes of practice a week, that's a whole lot more than no practice a week. And it's stupid analogy, but that's just the fact to it, that a little of something is a lot more than absolute nothing. So, try something. One of the things the guy talked about, I thought this was funny, that if you go out, you and your wife or husband go out to dates, how often do you wait for them to get ready? How much time do you spend getting ready, waiting for them to finish getting ready? You could be practicing then. And you may even help yourself out because you might be playing something annoying that makes them get ready quicker, and you can get on the date quicker. So I don't know, but that's something that the guy talked about, that I thought that was kind of cool. Playing your practice times out, just don't fit them in. Don't, just like I said, schedule a time a week, like Tuesday night at 7 p.m., tell your wife or your kids, I'm going to go practice for half an hour. I'll be back. I'll be back by 8 o'clock to watch the shows with the kids or to read them bed stories. Or if you're, like I said, most of this show is about the mixed DJ, so it's going to be a lot of single people in their 20s. I think you can find some time in the week to practice, but plan it. Don't just go, oh, I'm bored now, let's go. No, plan it ahead. Figure out the times you're going to practice. Set goals to optimize your practice time. So when you go into it saying, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, I'm going to practice from 7 to 8, and I want to work on my mixing skills. And then maybe a week later go, okay, this week I want to work on some scratching, and set specific goals for them. And another way to practice and get better to do with your time, to really make that time more efficient, is to take a class about DJing. And I know someone who does DJ classes. His name is Michael Joseph. He's a good friend of mine. And you can take a class and learn a lot about how to be efficient, to where before maybe you weren't being so efficient with your DJing, where you learn little tricks here and there. And if you don't want to take a class, there's zillions of videos online that you can go and watch and learn something. But look, there are videos out there that will teach you how to do them step by step. So go and look for them. Make the effort. Find a video. Set the thing in front of you. And when the person does something, stop it, pause it, which a lot of you tell me you do that with my videos. You pause it and try it. Do the same thing with other people's videos if you have to. Stop it, pause it, try it again. But classes are a great way to do that. Now, next one is territory, because I have so many people tell me I don't have any place to practice. Everybody has some place to practice, whether you think you do or don't. if you've ever seen the movie, I'm going to see if I can bring the picture up here. I don't know if I can do this or not, because I forgot to put this over there. If you've ever seen the movie Wild Style, oops, that's not the one I want. There we go. It was a hip hop movie that was out in the 80s, and for those of you old school, remember the DJ of Grandmaster Flash. So many of you know him, maybe have seen him at the Expo or something like that. But in that movie, they had him playing and DJing in his kitchen, and his DJ equipment was set up in his kitchen. And that was one of the things that people were like, oh, did you guys set that up that way? And Fab Five Freddy goes, no, that's the only spot he had to practice, and that's where his equipment was, in the kitchen on the counter. That's where he practiced. So, you know, you can find room if you need to find room, because it's going to be, you just say you don't have room, you have room. And there's also the one, that's the flyer for the practice. There is no shame in being a bedroom DJ. I know guys who are incredible DJs who have thoroughly flourishing wedding businesses, and their DJ equipment is set up in their bedroom to practice, because that's the only spot in the house that isn't taken up by a kid or a family member or something like that. So there is no shame in being a bedroom DJ whatsoever. If you can, design a designated practice area. If you can. I don't care if it's in the corner of the basement, the corner of the garage, corner of the bedroom, corner of the living room, wherever you can. If you want to find a place to practice, you will. That's all there is to it. If you have the money, you can rent a space. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have hundreds of dollars, but when I first started doing my DJ classes, one of the places that I used to rent to hold the classes is there is a local drum store here, like a music store, but it was just focused towards drums, and they had practice rooms, and I went in and talked to them. I said, I have DJ classes. All I'm looking for is a table and a room where we can make some noise and the students can practice. You know, we don't need anything but an electrical outlet. Can I rent them? And they rented them very cheap to us, because it was like, yeah, you know, especially if you're going to come in such and such a time, check with the local music store and see if you can rent one of their rooms to practice, and who knows what that might lead to. This is one that I don't get to do very often. I think I'm going to get to do it tomorrow. I don't know if I have a picture of it or not. Let me see if I have a picture of it. I do not. But Qbert has this thing called the Octagon. And what it is, it's an octagon-shaped table, and they have multiple DJ setups around the table. And a lot of times they will practice, and they'll just go around person by person around the room, because each one has their own setup. I'll do a couple things, and then you mix into it or scratch into it, and then the next person, and on and on. So if you don't necessarily have room and time at your house, maybe a friend does that would love to practice with you. And then both of you, trust me, can get better working with each other a lot more than you think. Iron sharpens iron, as they used to say. So find a friend. And again, you might have to hunt for one that won't judge your DJ skills, or is just looking to have some fun. And trust me, it's a great fun practice time, you know, when you get to do that. One of the things is that we talked about the PTO1, the portable scratch unit that they have. And there's a bunch of different units out there that will run off the power off a laptop. And if you have a good battery in a laptop or something, you can go to a local park and practice at the park. A lot of shelters may have electricity already in them, and you can plug in and just practice. Or just find put an adapter in your car thing and run it to the back. Like if you have an SUV, pop. I know friends who do this all the time. They'll just pull up in a parking lot, pop the tailgate down, set up their gear, and DJ right there, and people will come over and hang out. I mean, they don't have giant speakers running, but just stuff for their area. But it's a place to practice, because if you really want to practice, you will find a place and a time to practice. This is one that I believe in. I think this is very good. Volunteer to DJ at a local event, like a farmer's market or something like that, something that they wouldn't necessarily think. And it's practice time, and you say, I don't want to give my DJing away for free, but it can lead to things. Because I have a friend out in California, he does this thing where they teach DJ classes, and him and his crew will go out and volunteer and DJ local events, and it can be something like a farmer's market or something. I'm telling you, they're the most local events that you could imagine, and what they do it for is to tell people, we have a DJ thing set up over here. If you guys want to learn how to DJ, stop in Wednesday night. And stuff like that can lead to jobs, where at times I've gone and volunteered DJing somewhere and it led to other jobs. But that's a practice time that if you want. Another way, and this is again, sometimes giving away your DJing for free or for a drink tab, is volunteer to be an opening DJ for somebody. Find a DJ, say, hey, can I come and be your opening DJ? A lot of times I'll go, okay, yeah, or let me hear you, and you have maybe a mix or just do something, and they may go, yeah, you can come in for the first hour, and you won't get paid, or you might get a drink tab or something like that, but it's consider it practice time. And it's, again, if you don't have a gig, think of every moment that you're not DJing as wasted time. So those are ways you can practice. And even though I've never heard of this, I read an article recently about it, and apparently there's a lot of clubs and bar managers that prior to them opening, they will let people come in and DJ and practice while their staff's getting ready. And that's a good way to be, and I think it's a good way that they do it, is to filter through and maybe find some good DJs that way for free. But it's still a practice area that if you have a friend who owns or manages a club, say, hey, I need some practice time. Can I come and set up before you guys open and play? And they may let you. They may not. I don't know. But like I said, the article talked a lot about where a lot of the clubs will open their doors to people. So those are territories, places that you can possibly DJ. Like I said, if you get creative, you can really think. The next one is techniques, and I am not talking about the turntables, but it's things to practice while you're doing it and to expand your mind. One of the things that I like to talk about is a person who's an open DJ like me. I love house music, and that's all I listen to. But what makes my money is top 40 and other genres and stuff like that. So I have to kind of be creative, and one of the things I like to do is to practice three song sets. So every 3 songs, I change genre on purpose, change BPM on purpose to practice those non-beat matchable kind of changeovers to kind of push myself. And it also helps you to get to know the songs too. So a technique to get better in practice is things like that, doing the 3-song listing thing. Listen to the versions of the songs you have, and this goes back to the thing I said at the beginning about knowing your music. Know the songs you have, listen to them. Just don't download 5, this is where I'm going to stop and preempt it again. It's probably the second time or third time. But this show is about mixing. So it's about the mix DJ. And we're about the versions that we have. So if you have a certain download service that you use that just gives you songs and you just throw them in your hard drive and don't look at them until somebody asks you for them, I'm telling you personally, I don't want to chase you away, but I'm telling you, you're wasting your money. You need to either look through them and find what you need, or go to a service that lets you go song by song, where you can look at like Billboard's Hot 100 chart, not the singles chart, the Hot 100 chart, and Spotify's weekly chart, and get those songs and get good versions of those songs. And then once you get them, listen to them and know them before you go out. Set your cue points if you have to, whatever it takes, but get to know that song before you play it out. That's just a simple technique to make you better. Like I said, set cue points, and one of the things I think is important to practice is mix with your ears and not your eyes. And if you were listening to the set earlier tonight, I did one train wreck in there. It threw me off. The downbeat markers weren't set. The waveform threw me off, and I DJ'd with my eyes and not my ears, and I train wrecked. And that was my fault because I DJ'd with my eyes and not my ears. Practice that. If you have to, shut the computer lid and practice listening to what goes on. That's one of the things I do in my class, is that I'll cover up the screen, and if you're beat matching, I'll make it so you can't look at your screen and you have to hear it. And it's a technique to get better. Now the tricks, and we're just about done and we can answer questions. So I thought it would take me about 30 minutes to get through this. And the last one is practice tricks. This is one that I think is important, and I have it on I literally, again, because you have to make time for this, I have it on my to-do list for this week to go through and organize my music better. My goal is to hunt for songs that I used to play that I want to bring back into rotation, and I want to look through stuff that I haven't played in a while, and that's the goal. Organize your music better, put them in genres, tag them, everything that you can imagine, make playlists, make crates, whatever you want, whatever your thing is, take time to do that. Record yourself while you're practicing. And I know I've said that before, but it's really important to look at that all the time, because you can see things afterwards that you weren't when you were in the moment. So review the recordings. Share them if you have to. Stream your sets. And this is what I was talking about earlier, I want to get to about DJing for a crowd as an opening DJ or volunteering somewhere as opposed to practicing in your room. Because I'm telling you, you could practice for months by yourself. The first second you get ready to play the first song in front of a crowd, things are going to change. It's a different feeling, it's a different mindset, it's different everything. So get a chance to get yourself in front of people, even if you just have to stream it, whatever. Because trust me, it's different. So that's one of the tricks, is get yourself to used to DJing in front of people. Play for your friends and family if you have to. People who don't really care if you mess up. If your cousin's having a birthday party, say, hey, I want to go play for practice. And again, talking about the mixed DJ who wants to get better and maybe get more gigs. And again, it's not about the people who have the weddings and stuff like that. This is about that. And say, I'll come and DJ that for practice. I have many friends who do that. It's kind of a fun thing to do, to play for your friends, and you might have a group. Again, most of the people in this group that I'm talking about are in their 20s, so you're probably going to get together with friends all the time and say, I want to play. And I don't think anybody would care if you did or didn't. Pressure yourself by setting a time to practice. And be nice to yourself. That's one of the key things. Don't be hard on yourself for screwing up. But be nice to yourself and say, okay, I didn't get it today, but I'll learn it tomorrow. It wasn't perfect today, but it's going to be better tomorrow. Be kind to yourself on that. Practice playing for an audience that you'll be playing for. So if you're practicing at home and you know you're going to be in front of a high school dance, think about what you would play for the high school dance. Just don't play what you want. Imagine that those people that you're going to be DJing for are standing in front of you. If it's an EDM festival, think about the people who are going to stand in front of you. Those who watched my show when I talked about my set for the Denon booth, I talked about the fact that I knew that the people that were going to be there were people who were just walking in for 30 seconds to look at a piece of equipment and walk out. That was my audience. So I had to think and DJ for people that were just walking in and out or walking past. Have to know your crowd. Make notes, and I have, for those of you, depending on what kind of phone you use, I use Android, and I'm a big fan of Google stuff, and Google has this thing called Google Keep, which is kind of like Post-it notes, and I'm always, when I'm DJing, I'll pull my phone out and make a note about edit this song, or do this, or change that. And later on that week, I'll go home and fix it, or get a different edit, or I don't like this, and I'll change that, or see if that song really did have that blip in it that you thought that you heard. Make notes while you're doing this, whether you're practicing or whether you're out DJing. Make notes about the songs because you won't remember them later. Trust me. Set a simple goal. We talked about this earlier. Set a simple goal and focus on it. Don't think about, I'm going to be a great scratch DJ. Last week we covered a basic baby scratch. And practice the baby scratch. Don't worry about it. Just get yourself to where you're used to that pattern of that baby scratch and get it on beat, and record yourself on beat until you know that you're on beat. Set little goals if you have to. And the final thing on this list I said earlier, and I guess I made notes weird on it, but I said just have fun. Again, because if you're not having fun, people are going to see that, they're going to know that, and they're going to feel that. If you're having fun, you could be a not so good DJ, and you could be getting the crowd into it just by how much you're into it. And I don't mean that you get into it so much that you forget you're supposed to mix and don't mix, but enjoy it. And your body should show it by what you do. And my final note, and then we'll start questions in the chat room. It said, knowledge, this is a quote, knowledge without practice. Knowledge without practice. So that means if you're watching all the DJNTV shows and you don't do anything, if you're watching shows where people are talking about being a good MC and you're not practicing being a good MC, if you're talking about things about selling to a bride and you're not practicing that somehow ahead of time, if you're not wanting to learn how to scratch and you're not practicing, if you watch my shows and you want to learn, it's like the person was talking about beat juggling, and you want to learn that, if you're not practicing, knowledge without practice is like a glass eye. It's all for show, nothing for use. So think about that with what you're doing. Is it a glass eye or is it a real eye? So that's my thing for tonight. We've got lots and lots of time. I will switch over to the chat room and I will begin to answer questions. So if you guys have any questions, or if you said them earlier, bring them back. I will look at them again. People talking about DJ drops. That's not a big thing anymore unless you're doing like a radio show. At least the places the clubs and stuff I go to, very few DJs drop their name anymore. But you can, and there's lots of places out there that can do that, and you can even pay to have famous people. Like literally, if you want to spend money, you can have Fat Man Scoop or Little John do your drop, and that's very easy. I mean, how do I set my beat grid? Well, Virtual pretty much does that for you. I'll switch over and show you. I mean, it does it for you. You really don't have to do much. I'll zoom in, do a better one here so we can zoom in and see it. Let me see. So you can see the downbeat markers there. The white line that's going across there, see the white line? That's a downbeat marker. And it should read it, and if not, then you can just do a rescan of it by going in there and analyze for BPM. You can move that marker. So I'm going to move this over this way. So we're going to be watching this marker right here. And through one of the buttons here, if I can remember which it is slide or adjust. I think it's adjust. Yeah, okay, so on my board here, let me switch down so you can see this one too. There's a button here that's called adjust and that. So when I press down adjust and then move the platter, you'll see the white line up there move. Whoops, I goofed that up. Go back to here. Oh, I want to go this way so you can see. I want you to be able to see the line better. So I'm going to try a spot that doesn't have a lot of stuff on it there. All right, so if they're down and they're not on, say right there, press that, and you can slide that thing right over to where the downbeat is there, and it's set. You can also use the tap mode. There's a tap button here, and there's also a tap up in the top right-hand corner that you can tap the beat. So if you're hearing it, and it will set it. And that's kind of how you do the setting of the beat grids. No, this is the Cerrado wave. If you want to see the Cerrado on Virtual, this is the Cerrado on Virtual. I think it's this one. Yeah, I think this is the one. So you can have anything you want. It's out there. I had the one also that I used that I was practicing with. That is it's a modular one. So it's modular and makes it look like CDJs or whatever. But I have my special one there. Questions in the chat. No, you can change your waveform to whatever you want. I actually watched an article recently. There was a guy that was talking about stuff, and he said that he didn't like such and such waveforms. And that's one of the things with Virtual is that you literally can change it to whatever you want it to be. So find what works for you. You know, did I not share that with the moving or the whatever? I was not sharing that, was I? Sorry. It's usually John that's telling me that. All right, so we're going to go back again and we're going to look at the Cerrado screen. And here's the Cerrado. You can change the waveforms on this. They don't have to look blue and red. It's just there's 1,000 different waveforms that you can set them for. You can chase them horizontal or whatever, stacked, however you want to set them up. It's that way with that. I think there's actually another one there that's the same. I think this is the side-by-side. This is the Denon, so you can get a skin that looks that way if you want, with the waveforms all the way at the top. It's an old Virtual 7 skin. So there's lots of stuff out there. That's the one I like with my little things. So sorry about that. Do you want to see my mixer, or are you talking about what are we talking about in the mixer? No, please be in fine, because mixer to me is a thing that you put between two turntables. So let me know what you're talking about when you say cannot see your mixer. The beat grid effect. Okay, so the beat grid effect, are you talking about something that goes like this? something that makes that sound. Is that what you're talking about, beat grid? Just so that is a beat grid effect. Just making sure we're all on the same page here. So let me know what you're talking about. I'll answer questions. It doesn't even have to be about practicing, but that's what kind of the show tonight is about, practicing. So, is there an NS7 screen? I actually think there is with this, because the one is modular. You go back to left screen. We'll go back in here, and the one is modular, if I can find it. Nope, that's not the one. This might be it, because it always takes a second. Yeah, so this is the modular one that I practiced with before I went to the Denon thing, because I needed a setup that would resemble what I was playing with the 7000s. But you can choose different ones. So if you want a deck to be that, you know, the skin can be whatever you want it to be. I don't know if there's, like I said, there's so many in here that you can pick from. Make it whatever you want to make it. And there's 2 banks, so you can choose different banks. So I'm choosing back to that one again. Close the bank out and go back to my normal skin. How do I set up virtual? I just scratch. They're just the custom platter. Okay, let's take a step back on that one. The custom platters I make myself. You go into virtual, and there's a zip file in there with all of your skins, and you open up the zip file, and within there's BMP files which do the makeup of each one of the different skins you have. And I just open it up and then edit it with my logo on. I found the parts that turn within that BMP file, because it's just mix and match stuff. It doesn't look like this. It's just a bunch of hodgepodge stuff, and I put my logos in there so that they spin with the part that would spin before, which this part before had Virtual's logo on it, I think, and I changed it so it had mine. Scratching is just scratching. There's really not setting up anything. So if I go back to this screen, nope, we're going to go to this one, and I grab a sample here. So these are just samples that I have in there. That are just simple samples, and I don't do anything with them. I just there's really no setup to it. But if you have a more specific question with setup, let me know. I'm probably missing everybody's question. Back to the beat grid. Okay, so simple here in virtual. I'm going to change screens again. Can I do this? I don't want to do the zoom in. I just want to go there. And you have your different effects. And one of them is beat grid. And what it does is it does in slip mode. That means the song keeps playing when it does the stutter. And you have different setups. And where these things are lit up is where it's going to do it. So if I go, whoops, I need to put a song on there. Will this work? Yeah, this will work. And you'll see when I press it, it'll go across there, and each one of those it'll get, it'll skip, 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 nothing, skip, skip, not skip, nothing, so on and so forth. You can see across the top where it jumps. They have different settings for that. And it's in there, but I have it triggered by a button. I have it set up by a button in mind, so that I'm able to, in the different parameters across here, this is my cue point. And then underneath of that is a recording. It's flip mode actually, so it's a recording flip mode. This is my effects. And underneath of that is rolls. Next one over is the slicer. I'm sorry, this is my video effects right now. So if I was doing video, this would be my video effects. And you'll see that. And if I hit it when it turns green on that beat, it'll hold that point. Grabs it before, so when it's on, grabbing it before. And the last one is sampler. But they pretty much set up themselves. There's not much you have to do with them. It just kind of does it all itself. So hope that answers the question. You do not copy my setup. Create the setup that works for you. I do such a ridiculous amount of MIDI mapping with this thing. It's not even funny. It just takes a long time to set it up, and trust me, I go into unnecessarily detail with kick drums, underlying kick drums. So if I go back to here and share this, Virtual has a thing in there that they allow. Let me go left screen, and if I'm going to close this here, and I go here, they have effects in here. This is your effects area. Okay, so you can have horns, different things which I have set up for different ones. And that's one I have set up there, which is a kick. But what it does, it is beat sensitive, so no matter what the BPM is, it's going to apply that kick drum. So if I have this song playing from the beginning, and I press a button on mine, if I press over here that I have this MIDI mapped, it's going to trigger that kick drum. Play with it. And that's, like I said, there's just so much MIDI mapping that you can do. This is the oh, somebody asking about what somebody else's controller is. Feel free to ask questions. We got a little less than 10 minutes, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I hope tonight was all right. I normally do, like I said, when we have set up, I'm actually doing more mixing and different things like that. Tonight was kind of a theory because people were asking me about, like I said, after the scratching episode, we talked about, how to make it better and how to be better, and practice was just the next thing that I think fit in how you look at it. And if you really want to get better at it, like I said, if I want to lose weight, I'm going to have to do things to lose weight. I cannot just expect to magically lose weight. I can watch people exercise all day and I won't lose an ounce unless I get out there and do something. The same way with DJing. If you really want to get better, there is one and only way, is to actually start DJing, mixing, practicing everything that you can, anytime that you can. So feel free to ask more questions. We still have a couple minutes there. What I do for videos, he was asking, do I use videos when I scratch? Most of my samples are not video samples. Hold on here. Yeah, I got the right one picked there. So if I'm doing videos, I don't know if it'll even work if I do this and I share this. All right, so if I'm doing videos, it automatically goes to what's called the shader, which is a virtual DJ thing. But if I have a video, and let me go here to pull up a video, and if I play this, it'll go over to it. And if I just take a scratch, one of my scratch samples, you can have it set up to do an effect or not. Whoops. I believe this is on the wrong mode here. See, because I have the effect to set up to go. So if it automatically goes over to the non-effect I mean, the background thing that is anytime I play an MP3, it automatically goes to this shader screen, and this will change depending on what I'm doing. So it all depends on what you have set up. I normally don't do them, but there are ones. I don't know if it's in here. I can't remember the name of that. See if I can find it here. There is. I have some in here from. I thought it was in here. Maybe it's not. I do have. I can't think of what it is, and I can't remember the name of it, or I could search for it. There are videos that you can use for scratching, and I do have some in there. They're samples and sounds, but I can't find them. I can't remember what the name of them was or where I put them at. I don't remember what they are because I did a whole video on them. Thought they were under Cerrado because they were Cerrado samples that Cerrado put out a pack and gave the pack out. Yeah, I don't have it. So, but there are samples with videos which you can do. If you go on to Disc Jockey News and do a search for Cerrado sample pack, I did a video showing all of those things in use, the scratch videos in use amongst with other things. I'm not sure once to see under the video, under the name of the video. I'm not sure what you're asking there. Yes, I have scratch folders of every kind of sample that you can imagine. Beats, loops. I have one here that's just straight video game samples. And you can scratch them if you want. And it's just everything that you can imagine. So lots of things there. There are stuff in the sampler folders that is different than the scratch folders because there are stuff that you can samples that you can trigger over top of video that work that way. There are packs that are done that are different than just grabbing a sound. My scratches are just sounds. The ones that you download from virtual, the packs, are done. They're done as triggers. So if I were to be triggering an effect, that's how those videos are done. There's a little different there. If you are interested in the class, contact me directly. I do the classes now. Like I said, I used to do them at the drum place. Now I do them online with a program where we can see face to face. So all you have to do is have some sort of computer where you're able to point a camera at what you're doing, so we will see what you're doing, and then a screen that you know, the same screen that you can click over and watch what I'm doing. So when we go back and forth to those, practice. And the reason I paused right there is because I saw some knucklehead say the M word tonight. No, none of those folders work in that. Nothing works in that because that doesn't work. We have just a couple of minutes left. If you want to ask some serious questions, not questions about the M, I'll answer those. Maybe I should go over a night of different kind of samples, and I'll get the Cerrado samples that I downloaded. Like I said, if you want to go to Disc Jockey News' YouTube page and do a search for Cerrado within our videos. I can't remember what it was called, Cerrado Pack or something like that. Thank you, Vera L, for not knowing what Megaseg is. Thank you. Because no one should know what that is. It's not a real DJ program, and real DJs do not use it. Boom! I did it. Now I made enemies. I'm going to get hate mail. It's all right. I can live with it. Final questions. I think that would be a good thing to maybe talk about next week is samples and stuff. It's pretty simple to me, but maybe if you have specific questions about samples and how to use them and drop me a line, because a lot of my classes come from people. The idea for the ideas for the show come from people. So I'm glad you guys are answering there. I don't even know how to describe that. So a couple more questions. For those of you who don't know what Megaseg is, I'll explain it. It was originally created for stores or radio stations to do continuous playlists, But nowadays, pretty much an app on your phone will do all that. You don't need to download that program. Virtual does a mix. DJ Algorithms DJ will do an auto mix, a somewhat auto mix. Cerrado will not do an auto mix, but it will play continuous, where it'll play the next song, not mix, but it'll play the next song. So there's no reason to ever own that other stuff that shall never be mentioned. You can transition with samples if you want. I still would rather see you do a mix or a scratch or a drop than just a sample, because a sample is kind of, depending on how you use it. Like I said, if you're scratching a sample into something, like using a song like Hot in Here by Nelly, you can drop into the song that sample right there, and you're into the song. I'd rather see you do that than to grab a sample on something else, and I don't even know what's what. Oops. Anyways, stuff's popping on here and shutting down. I'm pressing too many buttons. I don't know if I'm gonna. The hurricane, we got a buttload of rain from the last one that came through, to the point where in our city 3 rivers meet, and there's a park there called Point State Park, and there was so much water in the rivers that the park was missing. It flooded that much. There's so much flooding around here, it's not even funny. So when the next one comes through, I don't know, but I'll try to stay dry. All right, we're 3 till. We're talking too much about the M word, so I'm going to cut it and call it a class. If you guys have any questions, again, feel free to hit me up directly. Better than leaving you can leave comments in the videos if you want, but it's better just to hit me up directly with questions or show ideas, or if you want to take the class, you can hit me with any kind of social media. I'm on all of them. If you go to my website, iammj.com or djmichaeljoseph.com, they both go to the same place. There's links there to all my social media and how you can contact me. If you want to contact by email, it's all there. And I will try to come up with a topic for next week with the samples or something. I'm not really sure what we can do about that, but there's a lot there with the samples that I could talk about. The video samples, the packs, the audio stuff. So I maybe do that, but if you have any other ideas, hit me up. But until next time, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank our sponsors. Thank everybody. Take care of yourselves out there, and more importantly, take care of each other. Go practice. Have some fun. God bless.